There's a lot of Americans hurting in this country. There is. Have been for a long time, too. Do you know how much the Republicans want to send to Israel for aid? 14 billion. Can you just imagine what that could do for suffering Americans in this country? And then think about all of the money that's gone to Ukraine, Iran, so many places, under so many different Republicans, under so many different Democrats, under so many administrations. And the amount of Americans that had they given that money to instead of diverting it all to foreign countries could have helped. That should just take your breath away. Because it serves them to have ongoing wars. Because you know they're getting a kickback. Because of how much they make a priority to put foreign citizens before our own. And yet propagandize to the American people that this is our ally, we must do this. Or we must send this to a terrorist organization like Iran because of whatever. I mean, the amount of lies and the amount of betrayals the Republicans and the Democrats have done to the American people is unthinkable. Almost unforgivable. In many cases, maybe unforgivable, but Christian speaking, you're supposed to forgive. But you shouldn't forget, and there should be consequences for that if we ever get a legal justice system back. In all these hearings, that are good to watch, or, some of them, to see the truth come out, which nothing will ever get done about it. But with all the hearings into COVID and Fauci and CDC, what don't they ever mention? In fact, no hearing really ever talks, nor do any politicians on the right or the left ever talk about Jeffrey Epstein. And he was heavily tied to the science. CDC did a 20-minute slideshow. I can't find it now. I should check. There's a social media called Safe Chat that I'm on, and I think I had posted, it was on their YouTube channel like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was about the ties of Epstein to science. About the gene pool, DNA. Yeah, he gave so much money to Harvard in regards to DNA research. And then look at all the genome labs. So with all the hearings they do, questioning Fauci, going after Fauci, and yeah, Fauci is, we all know, wasn't involved in anything good. But you would think that would come up because there's been enough articles from, from everybody, from everyday citizens that have, Substacks, or Whitney Webb, who did a book on him. And Whitney Webb, she did a lot of research. I'm critical of her because I think she's an amazingly smart woman, and yet she doesn't know about Trump. And it's like, well, yet she puts all these pieces together. She's amazing with that. And she's just knows it. You can find her all over the place, and people know of her that are awake. But yet I don't know how she can't tie up how Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein were arrested when Trump got into office. Yet nobody, for somebody who's amazingly smart, that's why I'm critical of her. Because I don't see how you can lack that common sense right there. But given that she did much research, especially during lockdowns. And the amount of ties to Google, to AI, to science that all of the globalists and Jeffrey Epstein were all involved is, it's unbelievable. It goes to Disney, all of it. And she, you know, she brings the receipts. So you would think that if we had if we had Republicans and Democrats in the den of thieves and devils there in Washington, that we would have heard about that. There would have been hearings about that. There would have been questions to Fauci and CDC about their ties to Epstein. But it never comes up. Not in any hearing, not about anything. They'll talk about trafficking, right? They can't get around it because they have to. So they'll throw Fauci under the bus, which he, you know, is guilty of enough. But they won't go to the Epstein place. I wonder why that is. So I don't trust any of them. I don't. They never talk about that, which should make you wonder if all their hands are dirty, whether directly or indirectly. Because when you want to focus on crises in Israel, crises in Ukraine, crises in the Democrat Party, crises in the Republican Party, crises at the border, and you then can sit down and decide funding to send to another country while you disregard American citizens, it's the biggest kick in our face. It's the biggest slap in every American's face. But most Americans have been lulled to sleep with, oh no, we always do everything for everybody else. We always do everything for other countries. We always give to the big organizations. We always bail out the banks. We always bail out the airlines. We always bail out big business. But to the American people, so when I see that they want to send, Mike Johnson is focused on sending $14 billion to Israel, and yet can you go down the street really anywhere without seeing people suffering in your anywhere in the United States? No. So don't give me Christian values. Those Christian values should start at home, because we are a Christian nation, and you don't let your own people suffer and lose their homes, lose their businesses, lose their lives because of corruption in science, and not speak about those things. And you don't focus on sending any money outside this damn country, not to anybody, if what you stand for is the American people. Every single one of them got to go. Because to do the right thing, if they are, even if they are not tied to Jeffrey Epstein, okay? They're incompetent. If you can be any congressman on the left or the right that can ignore the amount of destruction that has happened to this country, the amount of Americans, vets, so many other people as well, that have been destroyed because of the government. And then you have the audacity, and Fox News has the audacity to put you on the news and talk to you about your Christian values. Yeah, I call bullshit. Because Christian values, somebody that truly has an anchor in Christian values and believes that it has that relationship with God, knows that you would help the people here in this country, because you haven't been forever. You would put them first. That's what you're there for. But instead you lie. So don't even anyone in the swamp talk about Christian values. Not until you want to be honest about Jeffrey Epstein and how you've been screwing all the American people over.